What makes a replica more cursed? Is it if it's so horrendously ugly, you wonder how it could have ever came into existence and if anyone actually bought it? Or is it if it's so deceptively good, it takes the most well-versed, educated Lolita to point out tiny, minute details in order to differentiate it from the real thing? You're probably waiting for me to give you an answer, but I don't know. Let's discuss! If you're looking for a video about the ethics of replicas and whether you should buy one or not, this is not the video for you. I have already made several videos about replicas. Today we're just going to be going through the history and sort of perceptions of them, as well as my own personal thoughts and opinions. And we're going to be looking at these replicas from like most aesthetically pleasing to least. And I'm going to leave it up to you to decide which ones you think are more cursed. Ogia, Dream of Lolita, and other various Taobao shops had replicas that were seen in the community as being somewhat acceptable. Obviously, Taobao varies shop by shop, but there were some shops that had good quality replicas, and they were more accepted during this time because they did offer custom sizing. I have mentioned in my other replica videos, but I think that this is one area where it is acceptable to buy replicas because it is fulfilling a need in the market that the brands themselves are not acknowledging. They're not providing that. I guess I should like do a survey or something. There isn't really documented evidence of this, but to me it feels like more people were buying Ogia replicas because they were newbies and they couldn't accept the fact of the price of brand Lolita. They weren't willing to forego gratification. They just wanted it cheaper. They weren't accepting of the ways that you shop for Lolita fashion, which Lolita fashion is like a hobby. It's a collector's hobby. It's all about the hunt, the gather, the work towards obtaining pieces. The quality of Ogia created a fear in Lolitas buying in the secondhand market, which at the time was EGL comm sales, that they might be duped into buying a replica at the cost of a real brand piece. So as of 2012, replicas were banned off of secondhand sites. In the current day secondhand market, this is still applicable. Lace Market has banned replicas. However, places like Depop and eBay that are not monitored by Lolitas will often still have replicas, and you do run a risk of buying something that's marketed as a real piece. I think that it's good to sort of look at what pieces Ogia release so that you know what type of secondhand pieces are in the market. There are a lot of blog posts that show them side by side, so it's just good to check those out and be aware of the slight differences. So where would you run into replicas in the wild if they were banned off of EGL comm sales? They most often popped up on Taobao Resellers. Not all Taobao resellers are built the same. So Lolita was a Taobao reseller that was a bit shady. I don't know a ton about it, but they did host a lot of replicas, and that was a central place to get a lot of replicas, and they kind of marketed them as being legitimate. My Lolita dress was one of the dubious Taobao resellers that carried a lot of replicas. They even had listings with Angelic Pretty's original stock photo for the replica. It seems like a lot of the text would mention that it is in fact a replica, but it is still slightly deceiving. Currently, they do not carry any replicas. If you have been watching my videos for a while, you may have picked up on the fact that I was not a fan of my Lolita dress for a while, and I had my own issues with them, but they have definitely changed and curated the products that they carry. There has been a shift in management, and they're a lot more reputable now than they used to be. There was a store that existed in Toronto in Kensington Market called Twilight Fashion, and I wish that I could have documented this store because it's just so nostalgic, so cute. They were a Taobao reseller that had like a physical location, and they did carry a bunch of replicas as well as other Taobao pieces. I remember that they also housed like local artists' work and would sell like jewelry and accessories that were made from Lolitas in the community. And even though they carried replicas, it was still a really cool place to go. I only got to go once or twice. It was long before I had moved to Canada and I was just visiting. I'm not sure if when they were selling pieces, they made it clear that they were replicas. From what I remember, they didn't seem like they were admitting to selling like Angelic Pretty or Alice and the Pirates. They just kind of like left it open-ended. I can't tell from their old website either. I think they just kind of like gave them new names. I'm not sure if you like question them what they would have said. I absolutely adore their old website. They took these great photos. Like they're not great, but to me they're great. They're just so nostalgic of like my early days in Photoshop. It just really gives like early Tumblr days, even before that, like LiveJournal, clearly taken in like a basement somewhere and then like badly photoshopped, but it's like really comforting and like oddly nostalgic to see. This definitely does cause an issue because I could see a baby Lolita, someone who's totally new, walking into the store and buying something that they think is official brand, and then, you know, owning it, wearing it by accident, and then even potentially reselling it by accident thinking that it is real brand. Unless the shop was like really clear with saying like this is a replica, which I don't think that they would want to. They would probably just mislead and go off of assumptions. Towards the end of their operation, they did curate more the type of products that they carried, and they did not have replicas. And they still exist. They have a website. They are a Taobao reseller. And they go to events. I feel like these shops carrying replicas was just like a mistake at the time, and everyone's pretty much learned better. This video does not have a sponsor, but I want to take a moment to talk about my Patreon because I've reworked it a little bit, including free content for free members. On my Patreon, I make videos that don't fit on my YouTube for whatever reason. Some of them are just different topics that are not Lolita fashion, or some of them are more personal things that I want to share in a smaller group. One of the series that I have on there is called Not So Lovely, where I talk about like Lolita and J fashion and kind of content creator influencer world drama. And I've started posting older videos from that series to my free members. So my paid patrons have already seen them, and free members are getting to see them now. I'm also still posting additional content as well. Today I was filming a bonus video that's kind of an extension on an upcoming video. So if you want to join as a paid member, definitely check that out. The current free Patreon video is all about the bot or strange man who repeatedly asked me if I listen to country music, if I want kids, and if I only speak and understand English. You may have seen this around before, and it was I tried to explore it more and understand what was going on, and I still don't know. So if you'd like to check that out, it is now free on my Patreon to free members. I have had these two tiers on my Patreon for a while, and I don't think that I've explained them well enough. So one is kind of a shout out at the end of a video, and then the other one is a shout out at the beginning of a video. And so far, companies have been using them, but I have gotten emails of people asking if I do cameos or like video dedications. And I wanted to mention that this is a Patreon tier that could be used for that. So if you're looking for me to record something for you to like shout out happy birthday to someone, to dedicate a video to them, if you host events and you want me to talk about and promote your event or your community or anything like that, this would be a great tier for that. I would say if you have a specific date in mind to redeem it sooner than later, and if you have any questions, you can message me there on Patreon or at my business email, and hopefully we can coordinate something. Thank you for listening to my spiel. I hope to see you over there as well, and let's get back to the video. Lolita Dress Shop is the current replica heaven or hell. depending on how you look at it. I'm not sure what this place actually is as of recording this video, but it seems like it is the only place to buy replicas in 2025, but I'm not sure that these replicas exist. Is this maybe just a scam to get your money? Will you get anything if you order from them? I don't know. JillxPunkloli, or Refuse to Be Usual, was a primarily eBay-based shop and Facebook shop. I want to say that they were based in Taiwan, and their replicas were something else. I actually owned 2 replicas from them when I first started out in Lolita. I got Milky Chan the Fawn and Sugary Carnival, and my early Lolita say was I was wearing replicas. I wish that I still had them because I wish that I could show you the quality. It was very much hit or miss. The fabric of the Sugary Carnival one was so interesting. It was like a very stiff chiffon that was actually somewhat like transparent. They created a lot of replicas, and they also used replica fabric in different ways. Their cuts and styles did not accurately reflect the original pieces, and they sometimes went and made like full-on new pieces with that fabric. They were also still pretty expensive, but for a lot of Lolitas in the early 2010s, the accessibility of it being on eBay, they felt that they could justify it. It was easier to find and purchase. A similar shop was also Little Chili Shop and Ling Lam. I don't know if these shops were all associated, but it seems like they had really similar pieces. In the weird replica world, there was also a series of super long Lolita ball gowns, which looks like you took a Lolita dress and you just stretched it out. There are longer Lolita dress releases. They're usually between 105 to 125 centimeters, and they're called a T length. So they're more like a midi dress. They hit closer to the ankles. They're not intended to like be to the floor like a maxi dress. These mystery long ball gowns were also often hidden behind images of regular length Lolita dresses, and I think that this is where this image may have come from. It is an open mystery where exactly these dresses originated from. It is speculated that they came from one Taobao shop. There are photos that date back to 2009, and these believed to be the original photos of the dresses, and then a lot of sites would Photoshop them with floral backgrounds and just keep reusing the images, add their watermarks. It is theorized that these dresses came into existence around 2009 to 2012 and became popular because of misinformation around Black Butler. I don't watch Black Butler, so I'm very sorry that if I explain this incorrectly, but CL, the character, has a dress called the Robin dress, and a lot of cosplayers were bringing this character to life at this time, and this was sort of their introduction to this type of like historical hyper femme type of look. I thought that there was no way anyone would fall for this and be interested in these dresses, but I found Reddit posts dating back to this time when people were basically introduced to it by Black Butler and were trying to find other pieces similar to this Robin dress without knowing anything about Lolita. So I could totally understand how you could end up buying one of these because you just want more styles that look like this dress. Unknown if any of these dresses were ever sold or made. It's possible that the shop just made one or two in order to take photos of them and then waited as a made-to-order type of thing. So if you bought one of these dresses, or if you do buy one of them now for some reason, I have no idea what you'll receive. Between the time of me writing and researching this video and me now sitting here filming it, Angelic Pretty has released a very different silhouette of British Bear, which almost looks like these stretched dresses, which is so interesting. It's not, it is a skirt and a top set. I don't know how I feel about it. To me, it reminds me of these weirdly stretched dresses. Alright, so the elephant in the room. Milanoo? I've always said Milanoo, but I think technically it's Milanoo, so I apologize if I say this incorrectly. People believe that Milanoo was taking stock photos from brands and then creating poor quality dresses and selling them, but Milanoo was actually never a fashion company. They were always a Taobao reseller. But the way that they marketed themselves was quite confusing. Milanoo started off by selling lingerie and costumes in 2008, but they quickly shifted into selling Lolita fashion and wedding dresses in 2009. Milanoo originally used the tagline, China's e-retailer matchmaker, but then they dropped the use of this, which made consumers confused as to what they were. And there was some reputable Taobao resellers at the time, like, okay, now my dyslexia always messes me up with this one. Quitesland? I used to always think it was Quietland. I still question myself.
It's actually Cutie Land. Cutie Land. How can I repeatedly be so wrong for so long?
And then there was also Klaba, which appears to still be online. I've never purchased from Klaba and I'm really curious, but they were very immersed in the Lolita community. They seem to be very loved and trusted and like active, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts and like if people still buy from them. So Milanoo was never making dresses. They were stealing images, but they were selling pieces from Taobao, and they were often like the lowest barrel, cheapest quality, and then marking them up significantly. And Milanoo was preying on getting high search results. So they were banking on people being a one-time customer, just looking for Lolita fashion, grabbing the fastest, easiest thing. Milanoo was like the original, what I ordered versus what I received. An infamous pink dress review went around the online Lolita community, giving Milanoo a bad reputation, and they fired back by making fake live journal accounts and fake reviews to try to boost themselves and hide this review. This led to a huge movement to boycott Milanoo, and there was this gigantic list made of Milanoo clones, which people believed were all associated with Milanoo, but some of them were just actual Taobao resellers with no connection at all to them. In 2012, Milanoo was sued by David's Bridal for using their stock photos, and so after this, a lot of them stopped using brands' stock photos. They still would use like other Taobao shops' stock photos, so who knows what is actually behind that listing, but at least they weren't using big brands' stock photos. I was living in a world where I thought replicas were obsolete and didn't exist anywhere anymore, except for in people's closets or like in some warehouse buried underneath a million things. Until I went to AliExpress and searched for Lolita dresses and was immediately greeted with a sugary carnival replica. Looking at these reviews, you can see that there's definitely inconsistencies with these replicas, and it is really the Wild West on AliExpress. I don't know if these are just Taobao pieces. I don't know if these photos accurately depict what they are selling. I don't know if these are replicas of Taobao pieces made by someone else. If you thought JillxPunkloli was bad, you haven't seen Shein and Romwe. Shein and Romwe are the same company, they have the same founders, so their pieces are on both sites. Just don't buy from them. Like,
the way that these companies have contacted me to work with them, I feel like is borderline harassment. I feel like it is harassment. I just feel like I can't claim that. They will not leave me alone. Sure, I would love money, but I cannot work with these off of principle alone. Please don't buy from these sites. Like, I don't think I even need to explain why anymore. Like, please, stop.
These companies have released, like, slip dresses and day dresses that have Japanese Lolita brands prints on them. There is this, like, it's kind of cute if you wouldn't know, which opens up this other world of people unknowingly buying a replica because they don't even know Lolita fashion. They may have not even seen the original or be aware of it at all and just see this cute dress and buy it and end up wearing stolen artwork. There is also pants of AP Wrapping Cherry. I so want to see these in the wild, in the real world. Like, even though I don't want to support it, it's just hilarious to me that, like, someone who doesn't know anything about Angelic Pretty is wearing Angelic Pretty pants. Like, they didn't even get rid of the logo on it. Let me know which one of these dresses hurt you the most. Which one is the most cursed? Then I thought that this dress was a weird cursed blend between Whip Magic and Sugary Carnival, but this is actually a replica of a Sugary Carnival release. This is a knockoff of the Sugary Carnival special set released in 2009. And I'm sorry, I didn't know that Angelic Pretty released any other like solid border dress besides Whip Magic, and this dress is ugly. Like, how can you call this Sugary Carnival? Where's the carnival? It's just sugary. This looks like it was made with leftover materials, which is cool. I like when brands do that. But you're advertising it as a special set. Come on. It's a leftover set.